In Revenge of the Sith, the Jedi Master and Council member Mace Windu confronted the Chancellor of the Republic, secretly Lord of the Sith Palpatine, within his office. While attempting initially to bring Palpatine in without the loss of life, the Dark Lord sprung from his seat and quickly dispatched 3 Jedi Mace had chosen to accompany him in a show of force the Jedi Master had not seen before. Following a lengthy duel, Mace, either by his own power or by some grand manipulation on behalf of Palpatine, was able to subdue the Dark Lord. But something happened. A great sense of fear washed over the room as the Chosen One, Anakin Skywalker, entered. Anakin would plead with Mace to let Palpatine live, saying he must stand trial, but ultimately revealing his true motives to keep Palpatine alive in hopes he could use his power to save his wife. In this moment, Mace raised his blade, believing Palpatine too dangerous to be left alive, and in the true act that destroyed the Republic, Anakin severed Mace's hand before the killing blow could be struck. Palpatine again sprung to life, delivering huge torrents of Force lightning to the Jedi Master, who was then flung from the window and into the depths of Coruscant. But what if following this, Mace was able to survive his vast injuries and retreat into hiding? Welcome to Star Wars Explained, where we take one part of the grand Star Wars universe and switch it to explore the unforeseen consequences. Before we begin, I just want to say I am aware there are several theories suggesting Mace Windu could still be alive, but for the sake of this scenario, we will be disregarding them. Mace would fall to the depths of the vast city below, barely clinging to life. As the Jedi faded in and out of consciousness, in a moment of pure instinct, he would reach out with the Force, using it to push against the rapidly approaching ground in a final effort to preserve his life. Although this attempt would greatly reduce Mace's speed, the impact would be devastating, as a crack could be heard around the alley Mace would land in. Shocked, several bystanders would call out to nearby patrolling clones, who would rush to the aid of the Jedi. 4 clones would quickly rush to Mace's aid, ordering for a medic to arrive as soon as possible, as 1 clone reached for a medkit. Mace, only half conscious, would look above to the vast distance he had fallen, feeling his broken body, but also his broken spirit. Despite Mace's undying loyalty to the Jedi, something beyond his body had changed. He could now feel the darkness within him that he had often danced with his use of Vapad, but this time, it was different. As 2 of the clones rushed off to acquire additional aid, the communicator on one of the remaining troops beeped. Mace then suddenly felt a tremor move through the Force as the clone picked up his beeping comm. Everything seemed to move in slow motion as the clone answered, and the hologram of Palpatine appeared. Suddenly, a swell of rage emerged from within Windu as he heard the words uttered from the disfigured lips of the Sith. Execute Order 66. The clone, almost answering like a droid, would say, "Yes, sir," and slowly raise his blaster to the face of Windu. But the dark side would be strong in the surrounding area, as suddenly the clone and his companion would freeze. Windu would slowly outstretch his remaining arm as the trooper would begin to struggle. The area would fall completely silent, only broken by what would begin as soft grunts, but quickly transition to blood-curdling screams from the clone troopers. The clone's armor would begin to crack and break apart as their screams briefly intensified. Then, nothing. Windu would slowly stand as the bodies of the troopers slumped to the ground, feeling his vast injuries but also the flame within him urging him to move. He could feel the death from across the stars as his brothers and sisters perished. He could feel all the pain, all the death, and worst, the silence that followed. This great feeling of darkness drove him forward. Mace would finally locate a large cargo transport about to depart the planet. As he returned to see the smoke rising from the Jedi Temple, all around him he could hear screams and murmurs as he contemplated his next action. In this injured state, he determined he would be no match for the clones, or Palpatine. Mace, with a tear in his eye, would enter the cargo ship and depart the planet in secret. Months would pass. Windu would hear little from the Jedi as he was dropped along with the rest of the cargo on an Outer Rim world. The world would have pockets of civilization, but mostly be vast jungle. Deeply disturbed and saddened, Mace would venture into the wilderness, determined he would find or lose himself within. More time would pass, as all Mace would feel was death. Searching through the Force for his brothers and sisters, and any glimmer of hope he felt was quickly dispatched by a mysterious dark figure. This dark figure would begin to seep into his dreams, and then his reality, as he saw it around nearly every corner and in the shadows of the brush. He felt within him some type of familiarity for the figure, but it was different than before, and it was growing in power. The Jedi Master also found time to ponder on his mistakes, and the mistakes of the Order. Mace saw the Jedi had become fools, and blind to the growing threat. The Jedi for thousands of years had been fighting an enemy that no longer existed. The Sith had changed, and adapted, and the Jedi became predictable, and as a result, weak. As more time passed, Mace lost track of it altogether. While his injuries began to heal, he noticed drastic changes in his body. His eyes would lose their color, and his face became long. But at the same time, miraculously, Mace again felt the flame within him. He could feel his hatred and fury, and that gave him power. It was then that Windu learned he would not die on this planet, and that his role in the galaxy was not over. Mace would quickly find his way back to civilization and chart a ship to the Inner Rim. While on his way, he would commission the construction of a robotic hand and parts to build a new lightsaber. As Mace arrived in the Inner Rim, he would request to be dropped off on a world close to Coruscant, but not Coruscant itself. Once there, Mace would march upon the closest Imperial base. Arriving, he saw the new armor of the troops, different than before, and the Imperial flag waving proudly above the base. Feeling his inner fury, Mace would use the Force to crumble the base to the ground. With his power in the dark side alone, Mace's abilities would have amazingly increased. As he had discovered, in order to defeat the Sith, the dark side must be used. No troops could stand against him, even while unarmed, and any that attempted to stop the fallen Jedi would be literally crushed by his might. Mace would stop and ponder on the darkness, placing himself in the middle of the destroyed base and corpses of the deceased stormtroopers, and wait. Only a brief time would pass when a shuttle Mace did not recognize would descend to his location. From out of the ship would emerge the Grand Inquisitor, another Jedi ready to meet death. He would comment proudly. Mace would stand, slowly approaching the shuttle. As he grew closer, the look of confidence on the face of the Grand Inquisitor would fade to a look of horror. Windu was different now, but still recognizable by the former Jedi Temple Guard. In pure gut instinct, the Inquisitor would take 3 paces back. Master Windu? The words would leave the mouth of the Inquisitor almost unwillingly. The Inquisitor would attempt at this point to run, but would be frozen in place by the outstretched hand of Windu. The Inquisitor's lightsaber would then unlatch from its set position on the back of his armor, and find its way to the palm of Windu. "I have found what I have come for," Windu would say. "Now, where is your master?" Terrified, the Inquisitor would respond, "I have no idea where the Emperor is." "No!" Windu would yell. "The Dark Man." "Who is the Dark Man?" "Lord Vader?" a confused Inquisitor would respond. "Yes, Lord Vader." Suddenly, the Inquisitor would be forced to his knees as Windu stepped closer. Windu would then activate the lightsaber, holding it to the Inquisitor's face. "You will bring me to him." The two would then enter the shuttle. Under the guidance of Windu, the Inquisitor would reach out to Vader, telling him he required assistance with the minor Jedi matter, and that he believed if the Dark Lord personally aided with it, it could be handled quickly. Vader would begrudgingly agree, as Jedi would have become a rare occurrence at this time in the galaxy, and Vader would not hesitate to eliminate what little Jedi remained. The Inquisitor would inform Vader that the Jedi was in the Outer Rim, and to rendezvous with him out there. Once the transmission ended, Mace would turn to the Inquisitor, saying, "Good. Now tell me everything you know about your master." Once Vader arrived, he would find the Inquisitor completely clad in his armor, including helmet. Vader would demand to know the location of the Jedi, but would receive no response. "Skywalker," the Inquisitor would say softly. Vader would narrow his head, deeply concerned. "It's you, Skywalker. You are the one that has been haunting my every waking moment. Not only are you the one that broke me, you have continued to torment me." Vader would quickly adopt a defensive stance, as his lightsaber would instantly shoot towards his hand, as the crimson blade illuminated the battlefield. "Who are you?" Vader would say in a demanding voice. "I was once a Jedi. I was once considered one of the finest of the Order, a true Jedi Knight, but I was betrayed, as we all were, and darkness took me." The Inquisitor would slowly remove his helmet, revealing Mace beneath it. "I have come to end my torment, Sith," Mace would exclaim. "I'm here to take revenge." "Revenge is not the Jedi way," Vader would remark. "I am no Jedi," Mace would respond as he activated the Inquisitor's lightsaber and sprung forward. The two Dark Warriors would clash across the battlefield. It would not be graceful. The two would hack and smash against one another, using all their hatred. Vader's years of resentment and frustration against Windu revisited as he attacked the fallen Jedi, and all the fury for the betrayal of the Jedi within Windu as he attacked Vader. The two would lock blades. "You understand it now," Vader would comment. "The appeal of the dark. I do not seek the darkness because of solely its power, Sith. I use it because I have no choice. The ignorance of our order caused its downfall. We became slaves to the light. I understand now what I failed 2 years ago. No Jedi can destroy the Sith." Windu would break off the attack, extending his undamaged arm as Force lightning shot from his fingers. A stunned and off-guard Vader would be caught with his full power as Mace would raise his lightsaber with his robotic arm and slash at Vader's control panel. Vader would fall to one knee. Windu would pace around a downed Vader. "You will always be a slave, Skywalker. As you were once a slave as a child, you are once more." Vader would look up at Windu, his eyes now fiery and yellow with inner fury. "As you strike me down now, Master Windu, know that I have succeeded in destroying one of the finest Jedi that has ever lived, and there is no redemption within the darkness. But you already know that, don't you?" With a scream, Windu would plunge his lightsaber into the back of Vader. Defeated, Vader's body would fall lifeless. The dark side would swirl around Windu as he would turn to Vader's shuttle. A direct path to the Emperor, he would think. A direct path to my revenge. So that is what I think would happen if Mace Windu survived. I do find it very likely after his fall he would embrace the dark side, and after suffering injuries like that, it may have been one of the only conceivable ways he might have survived in the first place. Similar to Maul and even Vader, their hatred for others keeping them alive, forcing them to remain despite immense injury. Mace was someone who was a very good Jedi, but at the same time flirted with the dark side. With the Republic and Jedi still established, I don't believe Mace would ever turn, but with that crumbling, his motives may have changed. Mace was never really focused so much on attaining power, which is why in my story, I made it clear that's not what turned him. What turned him was his lust for revenge, and sadness over the destruction of the thing he cherished the most. Windu held on to the Jedi way so strongly, it was really the largest thing that kept him in check, and with that destroyed, he became open to the influence of the dark side. However, in my story, Mace is not a Sith, but someone who uses both the light and the dark, with his ultimate goal now being the destruction of the Sith, as in his mind, as he stated, no Jedi would be capable of defeating the Sith at that time. I really enjoy stories about characters seeking justice or revenge against others, but becoming like them as a result, sacrificing everything they were just to realize the cycle has come full circle, and they have become no better than the ones they despise. I find stories like that really compelling. So that was my latest What If Star Wars Explained. If you have other what if scenarios you would like to see, please leave them in the comments, as I would love to hear your ideas and read them all.